Everything okay? Everything okay? Yeah. Okay. Shabbat Shalom.
Can I see it for like 2 seconds?
What? Shabbat Shalom. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Shabbat Shalom. Not so loud. No. Shabbat Shalom. I'm hoping this microphone is working. Can you all hear me? Yes? All right. Well, this day has finally arrived. What a special day it is. We are here in celebration of Shabbat, in connection to one another, for community, and of course, in celebration of Emily. It took 2 tries, but here we are. And that makes it even more special and more beautiful. So I have a request, and that is a serious request, and that is that you take your cell phone out. I really mean it. Take it out, take a last loving look at it, because you're not going to see it for a little while, and we're all quite attached to them. Please make sure that it is on vibrate or silent, or even, God forbid, off. We often think that we do turn them off or put them on silent, and we actually have not. And God does not call us because we are already here in the presence of God. There will be plenty of time during the luncheon, during the party, to take selfies, to post on Snapchat or Instagram or Facebook or whatever is your social media of choice of the day. This moment, this time, this snapshot is for us to be fully in the present. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel taught that what we have, this gift, is time, and that Judaism sanctifies time so beautifully. And so at this moment, this time, is ours to honor, ours to share, and ours to cherish. And so we cherish these moments with Emily and her family. And so we do that by asking Emily to come forward together with her parents, Stephen and Shauna, that we can share in the Shechianu together, thanking God for allowing us to reach this sacred moment.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu vekimanu vehigianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu vekimanu vehigianu lazman hazeh. Amen.
It is not easy to be prepared in May and then be prepared again in August, but Emily is prepared. She is a little nervous and ready to go. So Emily will lead us this morning in the service. She will lead us in liturgy. She will lead us in Torah. She will teach us. And so we turn now to page 67.
I enter this sacred space to voice the longings of my heart in prayer. In sacred company, I offer my love to the Holy One. I devote myself this morning to psalm and song, study and prayer. May my heart be lifted, may my thoughts be deepened, and may my soul, like the eagle, soar. Please turn to page 68 for our opening song, Moda Ani.
מודעני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שהחסדך בנשמתי בחמלה, בחמלה, רבה אמונתך, אמונתך. She's got it. מודעני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שהחזרת בנשמתי בחמלה, בחמלה, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך.
Please rise as able for Baruch on page 108.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
We continue on page 110. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer or uvarei choshech, Oseh shalom uvarei et hakol, Hama'ir la'aretz v'ladarim alecha, barachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh bechol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reshit, ma'rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chachma asita ma'a ha'aretz kinyanecha. Tidbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shavach ma'aseh yadecha al ma'urei or sha'asita yafa'arucha selah or chadash al Sion ta'ir v'nizket kulanu meheira le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMeorot. Praised are you, Adonai, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy you illumine the world and those who live upon it. How numerous in your goodness your daily renew creation. How numerous are your works, Adonai. In wisdom you form them all, filling the earth with your creatures. Be praised, Adonai, our God, for the excellent work of your hands. And for the lights you created, may they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we all may swiftly merit its radiance. Praised are you, Adonai, creator of all heavenly lights. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMeorot. Please turn to page 113. Once or twice in a lifetime, a man or woman may choose a radical leaving, having heard Lech Lecha, go forth. God disturbs us toward our destiny by hard events, by freedom's now urgent voice, which explode and confirm who we are. We don't like leaving, but God loves becoming. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher ba'amo, Yisrael ba'ahava. Please be seated. Oh,
It's okay.
Emily, just kidding. Please rise for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. Yes. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meotecha u'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levavecha v'tivaratam ba'am v'shitecha b'veitecha u'lechtecha b'derech u'shofbecha u'kumecha u'shartam le'ot al yadecha lehayu letotafot b'neinecha u'sartam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. You shall love Adonai with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Adonai Elohechem Emet. We continue on page 121. Emet. There is no place where you are not. Even in the wilderness, there is your word. Emet. That pen strokes of lightning, white fire, black flame, stir the soul's passion, guide our sacred way. True and enduring is Torah. Your truth for us is certain and established. Now and forevermore, like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel, we sing out and rejoice. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot, oseh feleh. Nora tehilot, oseh feleh. Adonai hiloch le'olam va'ed. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Please turn to page 124 and rise for the tefillah. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Hasdei Avot Ve'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, Lemar Shemo Be'ahava. Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia. Mechayel Chayim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofech Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Nichamocha Ba'al Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memid Umechayeh, Umatmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atah L'Hachayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. We continue with Kiddusha on page 130.
Is that the right key? Mekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה על זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גדלך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גדלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לא ימוש לעולם ועד. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גדלך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גדלך, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. We continue singing on page 132.
ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת מקדשי שביעי שבת כולם ישבעו ויתענגו מטובך שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת והשביעי רצית בו וקידשת שבת חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת זכר למעשה בראשית שבת זכר למעשה בראשית שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
We continue on page 135. It's an honor for me to ask Gary Perlin to come forward to share in this reading.
We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories, glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
We turn to page 137.
It's an honor for me to ask Marty and Susie Mandel to share this reading.
Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in your deeds and prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands. You are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha le'ira navod. Amen.
We continue on page 139. For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imagination. Modim Anach. For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons. Modim Anach Nulach. For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements. Modim Anach Nulach. For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression.
Modim Anach Nulach.
For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared.
Modim Anach Nulach.
For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others may live in dignity and freedom.
Modim Anach Nulach.
We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ucha na'eh lehodot.
So this prayer, Modim, comes in the section where we give thanks. And so it makes sense at this moment for Emily to share a few words of thank you that she has prepared.
Here you go. I have so much to be grateful for. I want to start by thanking my parents. I'm really appreciative for my mom. She is a great listener and is really caring and helpful. I'm really thankful for my dad's sense of humor. He is also thoughtful and generous. Next, I'd like to thank my grandparents, Bubby and Papa. They always do the right thing, and I've learned so much from them. They are good role models for me. They are always helpful, and I enjoy spending so much time with them. To Nana and Granddaddy, thank you for being such a strong presence in my life and for your generosity. To Rafi, thank you so much for hanging out with me, even when you were annoyed with me, and always being there for me. I'm so lucky to have a lot of family in Cleveland. I'm grateful for my Aunt Dina's sense of humor and my Uncle Leon's knowledge. I know I'm lucky to have all of you around all the time, and I'm grateful that Dave is now a part of the family. Next to my Uncle Nicholas and Aunt Claire, when I get to see you, it is so fun to hang out with you. I'm lucky to have 4 godparents. Auntie Mara, it is fun to visit you. Uncle Chris and Hannah. Uncle Ben, I'm so glad you moved to Cleveland and we will get to see each other more. Soft and Gary, thank you for your love, support, and generosity always. I'm so blessed to have a huge family, so many of whom are here today. I've gotten to spend time with so many of you, and I know that this is really a blessing. I don't take this for granted. Thank you for being here today to celebrate my bar mitzvah. I'm blessed to have so many friends in school, at Temple, and at camp. It is super fun to hang out with all of you. To my school friends, I appreciate seeing you each and every day. I'm so glad that we support each other and are there for each other. To my Temple friends, I enjoy seeing you every Sunday and becoming close. Even though we live all over Cleveland, we have made so many fun memories. To my camp friends. It is so fun coming back to camp every summer. We have really grown up with each other. The experiences that we have shared are really special, and I can't wait to make more memories. I want to thank the people who helped me prepare for today. Thank you, Mrs. Wolf, for teaching me everything that I needed to know and having so much fun together. Rabbi Van, thank you for helping me throughout this process, and thank you, Deb, for helping me throughout the service and teaching me towards the end. Again, I thank you all for being a huge part of my life. I'm very, very grateful, and for all my friends and the family that I have. Please turn to page 140 for Sim Shalom.
Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim, v'rachamim. Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha. Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Am echad. Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha.
We continue on page 141. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace. Its advocate among the nations, may contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among the inhabitants of our world. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamvorech et amo Yisrael ba'ad shalom. We take a moment for personal silent prayer.
Oh, say shalom.
We have some movements for this in this congregation. Please join us.
Oh, say shalom. Bimromav. Hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, says shalom, you know it by now. Bimromav. Oh, says shalom. Bimromav. Hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu. 1, 2, 3, 4. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down.
Thank you. Little outside the comfort zone for some of you and coming home for others. We turn to Seder Kriyat Torah, the service for the reading of Torah, page 245. Lots of logistics and honors. This morning, the Torah will be passed generation to generation. It will also be carried in a hakafah, in a processional. The word hakafah is kind of like a parade, but it's not going to be like a July 4th parade. It is paraded around the sanctuary so that all who love Torah, all who want to reach out to Torah may do so. The Torah will be carried around the congregation by Emily, who will receive Torah lovingly as a gift from her grandparents to her parents. And so I am pleased to ask to come stand in front here. Emily's parents, Rabbi Shauna Nair and Stephen Langel, her grandparents, Shelley and Mark, and her grandparents, Shelley and Jack. And to open the ark at the appropriate time, it's an honor to ask Doctors Mark and Julie Rubin, Eric Rubin, Roz and Arnie Steinberg, and Esther and Steve Kant to come forward. And you're going to have to do a little cross, there's a little traffic jam here. So come on up. And we're going to ask you just to stand on the bima for just a moment. I know. And while you are coming up on the bima, you're going to come stand right here and I'll open the ark in just a moment. Come on up here. We're going to ask Emily, who's already here. Emily is going to read for us on page 245.
Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the strangers in your cities, to hear, to learn, to revere Adonai, your God, to observe faithfully the words of this Torah, and let their children who do not yet know it hear, that they too may learn to revere Adonai, your God.
Please rise.
Ador vador nagid kod lecha. Ador vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation. Ador vador, these lips will praise your name. Ador vador nagid kod lecha. Ador vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation. Ador vador, these lips will praise your name.
In this scroll is the secret of our people's life from Sinai until now. Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it.
Ki mitzion teitzei Torah. Ki mitzion teitzei Torah. Udevar Adonai mirushalayim. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Eloheinu, Gadol Adonai, Kadosh Shemo.
Lecha Adonai hagedula v'hagevura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz Lecha Adonai hamamlacha v'hamid na'aseh lechol erosh Al shlosha devarim Al shlosha devarim Al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed Al shlosha devarim Al shlosha devarim Al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu nekadma fana betoda. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu bizmirot naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Ivdu et Hashem besimcha, Ivdu et Hashem besimcha, Bo lefanav birnana, lefanav birnana. Ivdu et Hashem besimcha, Ivdu et Hashem besimcha, Bo lefanav birnana, lefanav birnana. Yalalai, 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 lalai, yalalai, lalai, 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 yalalai, yalalai, lalai, yalalai, lalai. Yalalai, 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 lalai, yalalai, lalai, 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 yalalai, lalai, yalalai,
I need
lalai.
Emma, Lily, and Sam to help me undress the Torah.
Yalalai, yalalai, lalai, 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 yalalai, yalalai, lalai, yalalai, lalai, yalalai, 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 lalai, yalalai, lalai, 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 yalalai, yalalai, lalai, yalalai, lalai. Ivdu et Hashem besimcha, Ivdu et Hashem besimcha, Bo lefanav birnana, lefanav birnana. Ivdu et Hashem besimcha, Ivdu et Hashem besimcha, Bo lefanav birnana, lefanav birnana. Yalalai, 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 lalai, yalalai, lalai, 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 yalalai, yalalai, lalai, yalalai, lalai. Yalalai, 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 lalai, yalalai, lalai, 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 yalalai, yalalai, lalai, yalalai, lalai, lalai.
Please be seated. You okay? Isn't it up? Is there a line? Is it this color? Okay. So while we look for Emily's Torah portion, Emily was scheduled in May to read from the book of Leviticus, which is what she will read from this morning. And then we'll take out a second Torah and we will read from this week's Torah portion. And in that way, we'll honor Emily's original date and honor this week's Torah portion. But we, right now, are looking for her section. Do you remember how many lines you counted up? 10 down from? 10 down. No. Right here. Okay. For the honor of the first Aliyah, here, you come stand here. For the honor of the first Aliyah, it is a pleasure, they're already standing. It's a pleasure for me to invite forward Dina Nair Menlowitz, Leon Menlowitz, Nicholas Langel, and Claire Cardinal. Good step away from
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMarach.
Baruch Adonai Ambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Uvkutrechem et katzir artechem lo techale pe'at tzarcha liksor ve'leke katzircha lo telake וכרמך לא תעולל, ופרק כרמך לא תלקט, לעני ולגר תעזוב אותם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. לא תגנובו ולא תכחשו ולא תשקרו איש בעמיתו. ולא תשבו בשמי לשקר וחיללת את שם אלוהיך, אני אדוני.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech olam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
For the honor of the second Aliyah, my pleasure to invite forward Michelle Langel and Jack Berry, Mark and Shelley Nair. Everybody, you got it right here. 1, 2, 3.
Baruch Adonai Havarach.
Baruch
Adonai havarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Havarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Lo tashoket reacha, velo tigzol, lo talim, peulat zachir, ircha ad boker. Lo tikalel cheresh, velivne iver, lo titen mikshol, v'yaretam Elohecha, ani Adonai. Lo ta'asu avel b'mishpat, lo tisaf enei da, velo tehadar penei gadol, v'tzedek tishpo amitecha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
For the third Aliyah, it is an honor for me to call Emily's parents, Rabbi Shauna Nair and Stephen Langel.
Baruch et Adonai Havarach. Baruch Adonai Havarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Lo telech rachyu mi'amecha, lo ta'amod al damrecha, ani Adonai. Lo tisna et achicha bilvavecha, hoheach tochiach et amitecha, Velo tisalav hate. Lo tikon velo titor et b'nei amecha v'yahavta l'reacha kamocha ani Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Now there's a smile. We turn now to Mishaberach, our prayer for healing. There are many in our temple family, many whom in our hearts and all over the world who are in need of healing, whether it be a healing of body, a healing of spirit. So we turn to the middle of page 253 and we hold in our hearts all of those whom we love, who are in need of healing, as we stand here. I stand here and you are in front with the strength of Torah, with the scroll out, thinking of all of those who for thousands of years have turned to Torah for strength. And we turn to Torah and song and prayer for strength at this time.
Makor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu, makor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
It's customary to lift the Torah high so that we can all see what Emily just read. So I'm pleased to ask Rafi Menlowitz to come forward. In a moment, he's going to lift the Torah high, called Hagba, and I'm going to invite Emily's cousins, Emma, Lily, and Sam, to come back up here. They're going to dress the Torah, and we're going to get the second Torah out, the Torah that we'll read from this week's. Oh, it's okay if you don't want to. It's okay. We can, maybe just some of you can come up. And we'll get the other Torah out, where we'll read this week's Torah portion, Ve'et Hanan. Please rise in body or in spirit.
וזאת התורה ששם משה לפני בני ישראל, על פי אדוני ביד משה. יאללה לי 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 לי, יאללה לי 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 לי, יאללה לי 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 לי, יאללה לי 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 לי. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 It's the great thing about our music, isn't it? You can just keep going.
So Emily has a pretty incredible first cousin, Rafi, who's going to read Torah. And Emily is going to offer the Aliyah. So Habachora, Habat Mitzvah, Eliana Talia, Bat Shlomo, Yitzchak, V'Harav, Shoshana, Batya.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Shamor et Yom HaShabbat lekadosho ka'asher tzivecha Adonai Elohecha sheshet yamim kavod ve'asita hu malachtecha vayom hashevi'i Shabbat L'Adonai Elohecha lo ta'aseh homelacha ata uvincha uvitecha ve'avdecha ve'amatecha ve'shorcha ve'hamorcha ve'cho bechemtecha ve'gercha asher bisharecha leman yanuach avdecha ve'amatecha kamocha v'zacharta ki eved hayita be'eretz Mitzrayim vayotziacha Adonai Elohecha misham be'ad chazaka uvizro netuya al ken tzivecha Adonai Elohecha la'asot et yom HaShabbat.
Good job. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Temet L'chayei Olam Nata B'tochenu Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. So we'll rise just to address this Torah.
Lie, 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 lie. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
So Emily will now lead us in Haftarah. Haftarah is the secondary reading. It kind of means dismissal, but we're not dismissed yet. It is, our rabbis from a long time ago were quite worried that we were only learning from the 5 books, from Genesis through Deuteronomy. And so they tagged on a secondary reading, a reading that would continue to teach us from Torah, from the entirety of Torah. And so Emily's going to lead us in the blessings, and then from a selection of Amos, also from her original bat mitzvah date.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim veratza v'divreihem hane'emarim ba'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'Nviei ha'emet b'tzedek. Hine yamim ba'im ne'um Adonai v'nigash choresh ba'kotzer v'dorech anavim b'Moshe hazara v'hi tifu ha'harim asis Ve'achlu v'chol hagbaot titmogabna v'shati et shavut ami Yisrael uvanu arim nishamot v'yashavu v'natu hiramim v'shatu et yenam v'asu ganot v'achlu et prihem Unitatim al admatam velo yinachu od ma'al admatam asher nitati lahem Amar Adonai Elohecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sor kol haolamim sadik bechol hadorot Ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, ha'medaber u'mekayin, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek. Al ha'torah, ve'al ha'avodah, ve'al ha'nevi'im, ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh. Shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha lechavod ultif aret. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umvarachim otach yitbarach shimcha befi kol chai tamid le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashebat.
Amen. So, in addition to leading us in the service, chanting Torah and offering her Haftarah and sharing what she was thankful for, Emily also has prepared a speech to teach us about the Torah portion and the meaning of this day.
My Torah portion is from a special section called the Holiness Code, which teaches us how we should treat people and how to be kind and fair, because it is about how we can be our best selves. We also read the section of Torah on Yom Kippur afternoon when we are focusing on how we want to be better in the coming year. There are many Jewish values found in my Torah portion. It talks about being grateful for what we have, feeding the hungry, about being honest in business and not stealing, about treating others fairly and not taking advantage of them, and respecting and celebrating each other's differences so we can be inclusive. And it ends with a reminder that we should love others as ourselves. This morning, I want to focus on respecting and celebrating each other's differences and being inclusive. This can be found in my Torah portion in verse 14, where we are told not to insult the deaf or place a stumbling block before the blind. This verse teaches us that we should not take advantage of others' differences and abilities, and we should also make accommodations when people need them. Some examples I've seen of this value are in school, when there are teachers who help those with learning differences. or during our learning program at Temple. When we have an ASL interpreter for services, so everyone can participate. Camp Wise is also a place that is welcoming and makes accommodations for all kinds of campers, and a place where everyone can truly be themselves. From these examples, we learned that we should treat people fairly. It is important to be kind and respectful of others. You should always be yourself, and no one should be treated as less than because we are all equal. Sometimes it is hard to be inclusive because there are people who do not believe everyone deserves equal rights. If we are not welcoming, people can feel left out or less than. Inclusion is different for different people. What makes one person feel included may not make someone else feel included. My Torah portion reminds us that we should have an open mind, we should be respectful, and we should not be afraid of what is different, but rather celebrate and welcome it. My bar mitzvah is important to me because it is meaningful for my family to celebrate together. It also celebrates that I was able to learn new skills, like a new language, and to chant Torah. It also means that I have more responsibilities. This is why I chose to do a mitzvah project for my bat mitzvah. Some of my friends and I painted canvases to donate to Humble Design Cleveland, an organization that designs and furnishes homes for those coming out of homelessness. These canvases will be personalized and hung in children's bedrooms. My Torah portion teaches us that everyone should be treated with respect, and that is why I chose this project. Shabbat Shalom.
What? That's really fast. I know. But it's okay. I was trying to get it. Hang on. So we turn now to return the Torah to the Ark. It is my pleasure to invite forward to open the Ark at the appropriate time, Marcy Greenberg and Lucy and Michael Abrams. If you could come on up, you're going to stand here for just one moment. And we're going to return both Torahs to the Ark, a little bit of work. And we'll turn to page 256. We'll ask Emily to lead us. Mm-hmm. We're going to do it right here.
Yahalalu et Shem Adonai ki niskav shmo livado. Let us praise the name of Adonai, for God's name alone is exalted.
Please rise.
Hodo al eretz v'shamayim, vayarem keret le'amo, tehila lecho chasidav, lifnei Yisrael ha'krovo. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
God's Torah is perfect, reviving the soul. God's teaching is sure, making wise the simple. God's precepts are right, delighting the mind. God's mitzvot are clear, giving light to the eyes. God's word is pure, enduring forever. God's judgments are true and altogether just.
Eitz Chaim hi lemachazikim ba betomcheha me'ushar. Eitz Chaim hi lemachazikim ba betomcheha me'ushar. Shalom, 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 shalom. It is a tree of life to them that hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. It's a tree of life to them that hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. Shalom, 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 shalom.
Please be seated. You can go back to your seat. Emily, you're mine. You can put it down. My turn. Emily, you've done a lot of talking, and now it's our turn. No, it's a relief, isn't it?
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what to say to you. What?
Nothing. Continue on.
Since I've known you, you were probably around 4, walking down the office hallway, yelling my name, even if you were but 1 to 3 feet away from me, you were yelling my name. You are a clear presence.
Thanks.
You are a pop culture lover, a fashionista, and a fashion critic. You are excellent at sarcasm. You are opinionated. I'm not sure you knew that. You are also the person who is modeling grace and composure. I know you don't feel it inside, but you are. This is try 2 for your bat mitzvah, thanks to COVID. And you've by and large navigated this with composure beyond your years. Thanks for being a teacher to all of us. And I'm going to share a potential bat mitzvah first. I haven't asked all of the clergy in the United States, but I'm going to try. It's not documented, so it's just a potential. When I thought about what I wanted to talk to you about this morning, I considered your love of Harry Styles. Harry Styles, if you don't know, is a wildly popular pop culture icon and musician.
I did know.
You did know, but they might not have. So I have 4 lessons from Harry Styles that also connects to Jewish values. So Harry Styles is not afraid to try new things. He left One Direction and started a solo career. Pretty risky for someone who already had a great career. How does this connect to Judaism? Rabbi Nachman taught, know that a person needs to cross a very narrow bridge, and what is essential is not to be afraid. He did that. He crossed a narrow bridge and he was successful. So my lesson, my charge for you, don't be afraid to try something new, even if it means being very scared. I can't imagine Harry Styles wasn't scared, and it was worth it. It's worth it. Number 2, Rabbi Zusia was concerned when he died that he would not be accepted in the afterlife because he hadn't done everything the same way that Moses had done. And God said to him, don't worry about Zusia. Don't worry about Moses. Worry about Zusia. In other words, be yourself. Harry Styles is very much himself. He wears what he wants, whether it's a dress on the cover of Vogue or bell bottoms. He is authentic. Emily, be authentic. Be you, even when it's hard. This one's pretty obvious. I think you probably know what's coming. You can probably just look on your arm. Treat people with kindness, TPWK. One of his most famous songs. And it relates almost verbatim to love the stranger as yourself. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Love, you should love your neighbor as you love yourself. As you do, keep the eye out for those who are othered. This is the entirety of your bat mitzvah speech. This you already know. And number 4, Abraham Joshua Heschel teaches, our goal should be to live life in radical amazement, to get up in the morning and look at life in a way that takes nothing for granted. Everything is phenomenal, everything is incredible, never treat life casually. Harry Styles is one of the most successful artists in the world. He's been performing since 2010. He's finding joy and radical amazement. He likes his life. Emily, I hope and pray that you too will find joy, will find radical amazement in what Judaism teaches, in what Harry Styles teaches. These are my 4 things that I believe Harry Styles teaches that are quintessentially Jewish, and my prayers and hopes for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Emily, being a rabbi's kid,
Yeah.
has some hard times, a little stress, a little tension, but also has an extraordinary amount of blessing. And that blessing comes from the relationships that you have.
For real.
For real.
For real.
So this I almost said this morning, we call on those beautiful relationships, 2 of whom are your godparents. And so our tradition is to have a quiet blessing, a private blessing before the open ark. And so it is really a pleasure that this morning, Rabbi Amy Perlin, your Savta, will have the opportunity, you can come up as you hear your name, we'll have the opportunity to bless you privately before the open ark, and that then another godparent, Rabbi Ben Sternman, will come forward, and then Stacy Schlein, Rabbi Stacy Schlein, will also have an opportunity for blessing, all the while Cantor Dave Malecki will sing the priestly benediction in the Suburban Temple Kol Ami beautiful blessing. So please come up at this time. First, Amy Perlin will share words of blessing, and then the 3 clergy friends will share in the priestly blessing. We'll ask that you remain seated even if the ark is open for this beautiful ritual.
We are gifts and we are blessings. We are history in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. Ledor vador nagid God lecha. Ledor vador we protect this chain. From generation to generation, Ledor vador, these lips will praise your name. Ledor vador nagid God lecha. Ledor vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, Ledor vador, these lips will praise your name.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yaher Adonai panav elecha vichuneka.
May God be a shining presence in your life, and may God be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav אבילך וישם לך שלום וישם לך שלום.
This is where you get to take a nice deep breath. May you always feel God's loving presence surrounding you. May you have that comfort, that inspiration, and that guidance, no matter what comes your way, that you feel a sense of peace. Amen.
Amen.
Emily, we have a number of presentations for you, and so I want to present you with these certificates. These are 3 certificates that one is, in case you forgot, this day happens. We have a beautiful certificate for you.
I'm sure I would.
This beautiful certificate for you to record your bat mitzvah today, and 2 certificates to help you travel to Israel. We hope and pray that you will be able to do that. And my pleasure to invite the president of our congregation, Lori Rosenberg, to come forward for a presentation on behalf of our Board of Trustees and Kol Nashim.
Mazel tov to you.
Microphone.
Oh.
You're taller than me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. On behalf of Suburban Temple and your family, I say on behalf of them that we are so proud of you and what you accomplished today. Leading the service, reading from the Torah, the Haftorah, amazed at the job that you did, and everybody is just, again, so proud of you. So I remember, I'm going to tell a story like Rabbi Van. I remember when you first arrived here and sitting almost in that row, almost in that seat, you sitting on your mom's lap. And just, being engaged in the service and understanding some of your new surroundings. And then look where we are now. This sanctuary is full to honor you, to honor what you did today. One of my favorite parts of any bar or bat mitzvah service is when we hand the Torah down through generations. And as we all saw today, you are surrounded by love, and your parents and your grandparents are going to help guide you to the next part of your amazing life. And we know that it will be. These candlesticks, I'm presenting you with these candlesticks on behalf of the Board of Trustees of Suburban Temple, Kol Ami, and the women of Kol Nashim, the women of Suburban Temple. And we hope that as you light the candles for Shabbat, for holidays, that you remember this amazing day and the joy that you brought to yourself and to all your friends and family. Mazel tov.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Emily, it's now your parents' turn to talk. So it is my pleasure to ask Stephen Langel and Rabbi Shoshana Nair to share words of love.
Okay, I will. First of all, what a wonderful job, my baby.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my God, I'm so
Thanks.
proud of you.
Thanks.
Okay, now, to say that I'm proud of my daughter would be an understatement. I'm proud of Emily for so many things. Not only am I proud of the amazing job she's done this morning, but the amazing person that she is. Emily is the most kind, caring, and empathetic person I've ever known, and I'm proud of her for that. Emily is incredibly intelligent and principled, and I'm proud of her for that. Emily is strong, self-possessed, and passionate about what she believes in. This includes caring for and protecting those who have less, who are vulnerable and persecuted, and I am proud of her for that. And not only am I proud of who Emily is, but I'm excited about who she will be and what she will accomplish in her life. Emily has such a caring heart, and when paired with her intelligence and common sense and sense of humor, just add that in, there's nothing she won't be able to accomplish. Life is a gift, and I know Emily will make the most of it, every day of it. And whatever she does, I know it will be for the good, to make a positive difference in this world, to help others and lift up those in need, because that is who Emily is. I only wish her grandfather, my father, Edwin Langel, could have been here to see this. He would have loved her so much and absolutely adored his granddaughter. And I see so much of my father in Emily, the same intelligence, common sense, mischievous sense of humor, and strength, not to mention the fact that people just tend to listen to her, much as they did with the drill sergeant. And like her grandfather, Emily has a heart of gold. I see all of this in Emily, and I just know how proud he would be, how proud he is of her. Emily, I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
So I wouldn't be me if I didn't begin with a story. It's one of my favorites to tell. It is about a village in some nondescript European city, as many of them begin. And the Tsar, or a messenger of the Tsar, came to the city after Shabbat services one week and said, you know, the Tsar does not believe in this God that you believe in. And you say that your God is all-knowing and all-powerful, yet God is invisible. So you need, by next Shabbat, to be able to answer the question, if God is all-knowing and God is all-powerful, but God is invisible, how does God see God's self? And they had a week to answer, or the Tsar was going to close the synagogue and the Jews would have no place to pray. And they thought about it, and they asked all the wisest people in the synagogue, and finally they went to the wisest person in the entire town, who is the rabbi.
The rabbi.
Always
I knew
the rabbi. And the rabbi pondered this all week and tried to think, went into the woods to get concentration, and really could not think and could not come up with an answer. And by Thursday was really distraught because he feared that, because of course, in all of these stories, the rabbi is a he. Not our experience around here, but you know, nonetheless, was a he, and he was distraught, and he was sitting on a bench in the center of town looking very distraught because he was very, very worried that they were going to have no place to pray that Shabbat. When one of his students came up to him and said, Rabbi, why are you looking so sad? And he said, because we have this question we need to answer, or we're going to lose our synagogue. And he said, well, Rabbi, what's the question? And he said, the question is, if God is all powerful and all knowing, but God is invisible, how does God see God's self? And the rabbi student answered, that is easy. You taught us this. You taught us that we are all God's mirror. There's a little piece of God inside of ourselves. And so if God wants to see God's self, all God has to do is look at one of us, and we are a reflection of God. Emily, you are God's mirror in the kind, God's calling, because God knows I'm right. Emily, you are God's mirror in the kind and caring person that you are. Well, I love that how you do in school and your grades matter to you. I was always far prouder when your teachers let me know what a good friend you were and are to your classmates. You are God's mirror in the way you think of others' needs and the way you understand that treating others fairly doesn't mean treating them equally. Rather, it means making sure everyone gets what they need. You are God's mirror in the joy you bring to just about everything you do. I'm pretty sure cleaning the guinea pig's cage is the one exception. And in your sense of humor and the joy you get for making others laugh. Emily, you are God's mirror in the way you handled testing positive for COVID 2 days before your bat mitzvah and having to reschedule for this morning. Your incredible maturity and resiliency were truly remarkable, an example for all of us. Emily, I have told you more than once that this morning you read my favorite 3 words of Torah, V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, love your neighbor as yourself. I often teach that I love these words because they remind us that we are supposed to love others and love ourselves, and that we need them because most of us are good at one or the other, but rarely good at both, and even more rarely good at doing both in balance. Emily, to me, you are God's mirror most because you have always had that balance. You are incredibly confident in who you are, and at the same time, you have a true compassion for others. My prayer for you today is that as life continues, no matter how hard it may sometimes get, you always keep that balance. I am so proud of you and to be your mom.
Thanks. Love you.
Love you, bye.
Oh God. Go down. Go sit down.
Guess what? You want to sit down? Yeah. I'm giving everyone just a moment to breathe. Okay. So we turn now to, I lost a book. Okay, sorry. We turn now to Aleinu, which can be found on page 283. And to open the ark, it is my pleasure to ask Jack and Marcy Schreibman, Jody Schultz, Kelly Ryan, and Lori Rosenberg to come forward. As we turn to page 283, please rise as able. Let us adore the ever-living God and render praise unto you, who spreads out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God, there is none else.
ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. We turn now in our service to our time of remembering. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On this Shabbat, we remember those taken most recently from our temple family. We remember in Shiva, Marilyn J. Berman, Shloshim, Frank Meslovich, Avery Savrin, Dave Eskenazi, Byron Krantz, Jeffrey Korak, and the yahrzeits that fall on this Shabbat: Murray I. Cooper, Susan G. Crystal, Saul Edgert, Ralph J. Freed, Harry Robert First, Peter K. Garson, Bear Godin, Herbert G. Goulder, Sylvia E. Green, Meyer Green, Beverly Bubbles Jaffe Hirsch, Anna Jackal, Merle W. Kahn, Charles M. Koplik, Rosa Loeb, Edith D. Miller, Doris Beecher Pizer, Rose S. Plessett, James M. Schulman, John C. Stone, Lillian A. Weinberger. And on this Shabbat, Emily's family remembers with great love Edwin Langel, her paternal grandfather, and all of her great-grandparents, and especially those she knew: Jeanette Nyer and Mike and Dolores Rubin, and her great-great-aunt Pearl. And our griefs and sympathies are mingled as we turn to page 294 and rise as able for the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon uvyom mechon, uvchaye techol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shleim Rabbah mevorach leolam almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yit hadar, v'yit haleh, v'yit halal, shemei tekudisha barechu. Le'elam minkol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran b'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, Ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and give comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say together, amen. Please be seated. In just a moment or so, we will gather for a celebratory luncheon. In order to do that, we'll have Kiddush and Motzi here on the bima. And so in order to celebrate Kiddush and Motzi, I am happy to ask all of Emily's cousins and friends, and cousins in this case does not just mean child cousins, adult cousins too. So all of Emily's cousins and friends, even if you fill the bima, please come forward at this time to help us lead Kiddush and Motzi. And you know, Emily has an eagle eye, so you should come on up. Emily, you too. Go over there.
I'm here.
I know, but I need you.
I'm all good.
Okay. Who's going to actually speak?
Oh, what are we speaking?
Kiddush and Motzi.
Not me.
All right, Raf.
Up to you.
You want to just, you know what they're showing?
Oh, yeah.
So fun.
Baruch Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our prayer is joyfully said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'tei avon.
They'll leave. We need them to stay here for one more minute. So you guys can start eating the challah. We have something to do, don't we, Deb? We have something to sing.
We do.
And so what we say at the end of a bat mitzvah, what do we say? Mazel tov. So, ready?
Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, yehelanu. Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, yehelanu. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael. Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, yehelanu.
Emily, mazel tov. You did it. I'm going to ask all of the cousins to start heading back to your sort of general area. Our service is concluded. We are so proud of Emily, and our luncheon will begin. It's ready. Mazel tov. And you can return your book to the
We
cart.
have a luncheon after.